Opa. There was a comment about starting off with a whole chicken, and this meal won't be easy to do. This was in this uh, with water and a bit of salt, a couple of bay leaves, some pepper, and the liquid turned into this. This is top shelf chicken broth. Broth because it was meat that was boiled. If it was just the bones, it's stock. And yes, the two terms are interchangeable. This should be approximately 3 liters. We can top it up with regular water. But yeah. So this used to be water. This used to have feathers. And it was boiled for about 90 minutes until internal temperature, just on medium, until internal temperature hit minimum 165 Fahrenheit. As it turns out, I checked when it was closer to 175. And this is one of the few times that I really don't care about going a bit over. When it comes time to doing stuff with the chicken, I will be removing the skin, just peeling the meat off the bones. Well, I'll show you how fall off the bones this is. Leg. That's about as fall off the bones tender as you can get. It's very fall off the bones tender. The recipe calls for basically a mirepoix. I shouldn't say basically, it calls for mirepoix. In the stock pot, in the giant pot where you boil the chicken, I actually don't have carrots or celery. I only have dehydrated onion. I'm not too worried. We're going with super, super minimal ingredients today. Yeah. There's the rest of it. I have some washed rice. I rinsed this a few times until the water was basically clear. I have 3 room temperature eggs, half a cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I have a cup for measuring later. And I have some dehydrated onions. Let's pretend this is a cup of diced onions that I'm going to caramelize. That's also optional. The gadgets today: hand mixer. If you want to go truly old school, you can just use a whisk. I bring this up every time Avgolemono soup is mentioned. My mom literally freaked out every single time that she went to make this because she didn't know how tempering worked. And she was always terrified that the sauce, that's what we're making, would break. As long as you're slowly tempering, as long as you're mixing your eggs up as you slowly add the hot broth, you will never break. There's nothing fancy about this at all. But for some reason, she was always terrified of it. And then one day, she heard a friend of the family, who was not Greek, went to Greece, fell in love with the soup, learned how to make it, and apparently learned to make it very well. And then my mom was rather embarrassed that apparently she couldn't. So yeah, the recipe's there. Everything is very, very stripped down. The whole recipe is in on that link. I did include in the notes at the top of that page what I'm actually doing today. Well, it became funny, and it was every single time that she'd always make sure I was around to help her to make this. And every time I just shake my head and go, this isn't hard. I don't understand. Oh, and the visual shoutouts are turned off because this goes straight to YouTube. She saw the humor that she was very concerned about it, and I eventually wore her down until she thought it was cute or something. She'd giggle. My sister was over the other day, and we had yesterday actually, and I told her I was making this today, and she brought it up that mom's friend went to Greece and she was embarrassed, etc., etc. You just heard the story. This was the only recipe she was concerned about, and I really don't know why. I do think it was just the simple fact that she didn't know how tempering worked. So the way tempering works, in general, when you're doing, it's usually done with eggs, and you just whisk up your eggs until they're fully incorporated, so the whites and the yolks make friends, and you don't have strings or streaks of white in there. And then you slowly add a hot liquid while you're whisking. And as long as you keep it whisking and you're slowly adding a hot liquid, you will cook the eggs, but they stay liquid. Mind blown, magic. And that's it. In general, in the kitchen, when you temper something, you're stirring something and you add, it's usually a hot liquid, and you slowly add it while you're still stirring or whisking it, so you don't change the consistency of the thing you started with. You're just adding hot liquid, usually hot, and incorporating it. That's it. That's all it is. Okay. Now I do have my empty pot here. Yoink. And to this, I'm going to add just a tablespoon of butter. This whole recipe, from the time that I start to the time I finish, should be about 45 minutes. Maiden has a temper in the kitchen, but she doesn't doesn't temper things in the kitchen. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Weren't you a writer for Family Circus at some point? Depending who you talk to, that's a huge compliment. One of my friends from high school and junior high, he thought Family Circus was literally the most hilarious thing ever. That is how you made your money in the 50s, right? Okay, so I have a couple of tablespoons of butter. My pot is going on medium heat. Now, these onions are just dehydrated, done in a dehydrator. We're going to pretend that they are whole onions, that it's a whole onion that I diced. We need about a cup. This might actually be too much onion. And I'm going to just give this a quick, coarse chop. Because we don't want long pieces of onion. At some point, someone should be asking me, hey, Vlahos, why aren't you just using onion powder? To which I would reply, shut up. This stuff tastes better than any commercially made onion powder. Okay, that's good enough. The original recipe, though, is made with a mirepoix, so that's celery, onion, and carrots. They're cooked normally for about 3 minutes a piece. You add them from hardest to softest vegetable. And that builds the base for almost every savory, homey comfort food there is. North America, Europe, Southern Europe, into Asia. In Louisiana, the Trinity replaces carrots with peppers, like bell peppers. There's loose variants of that all over the world. Yeah, so I've got my butter melting over here. I'm just going to Add my onions to my pot. Woo! That smell though, jeez. Super onionery. I put in more than just 2 tablespoons of butter. You know, I think I'm going to add just a little more because the onions themselves are dry and I need, you know, I can just add a splash of water. I'm just throwing in a 1/4 cup of water to give the onions something to hang on to so they don't start burning right away. Again, medium heat. I'm just going to leave this simmering until these onions start to caramelize. So the Avgolemono soup is it's just a normal rice soup with your normal add-ons being rice and water. Whenever you make soup in general, you try to use a stock or a broth or some sort of flavored liquid instead of just water. Adding just water to your food, it waters down the taste. It's in the term watered down when you cook things with water. Cooking in water is different, but cooking with water, I prefer to use things like, again, stock, some sort of a broth, some sort of a juice, something with flavor. So you have your rice soup, and then right at the end, you make this really creamy, luxurious sauce that you pour in, and that sauce is the tempered eggs with lemon juice. So you have this really, it's a very creamy, it's a very hearty, very satisfying, awesome mouthfeel sauce that just elevates the soup. And yes, using a fresh onion is always better. And as I've mentioned many times on the stream, ain't no one got time for that because a bag of lemons will go bad within, I don't know, a week, maybe 2. This stuff lasts basically forever and apparently has the juice of 21 lemons in it. And these are cheap. I get these at my local Costco for $2.50 each, maybe $3. It's hard to compete with the price. I can show you what this is looking like right now. These onions are actually starting to get a little bit of color. As soon as this turns a little more brown, then I'm going to add my other ingredients, and then we're going to dive into shredding up the chicken. And after 15 minutes of that, I'm going to make a sauce, and then we're done. So start to finish, depending how long it takes for your pot of water to come to a boil, you boil your chicken for between 60 and 100 minutes, give or take. And cooking the rice should take no more than 30 minutes. It's actually closer to 20, but just add 10 for chopping up your veggies and whatever else. This soup is very quick to make. It's very quick to make. Shredding the chicken once it's cooled down to room temperature is a lot easier on the hands. And unlike things like pulled pork where you can bust out the meat claws, I've always wanted to get a pair. I might eventually. I'm just going to manually pull the meat out, make sure there aren't any weird gristly bits or tendons or flakes of beaks and horns and hooves. Then I'm going to just chop up that meat, throw it into the soup, and then I'll make the sauce, and then we're done. So yeah, today shouldn't be more than 45 minutes, and then we'll get to the games. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I have chicken, skip step 1. Was that someone at the door?
No, that was backfire.
Interesting. It sounded like it was coming from the balcony.
Yeah, it was coming from the balcony.
Neat. Now I'm going to add my 3 liters of liquid to the pot. Granch, if you're ever in town, and I highly encourage you to come to town, I will make whatever food you like. And that goes for everyone. If you ever find yourself in the greater metropolitan region of Canada known as Winnipeg and want to come down and hang out on the casting couch, the green room, the green screen, the studio audience membership you may acquire. Cook with me or without me in the kitchen. All you need to do is send a self-addressed stamped envelope to this guy, care of this place. I will hook you up. Now I have to count to 12 here. 1, 2. I did not measure how much liquid I had over there. I think I'm closer to 2 liters. It was closer to 2 liters, so I'm going to add another liter, also known as 4 cups. This is watered down 2 to 1. It's 2 parts broth to 1 part water. This broth had a lot of color, has a lot of flavor in it. Like, it's hard to beat a homemade chicken. It's hard to beat homemade broth in general. And I'm just going to add the rice to this now. Once this comes to a boil, I'm going to bring it down to medium-low and simmer at least 20 minutes, and then the rice should be done. Actually, I will keep this bowl handy for the actual sauce. Cover that so it boils faster. For the sauce, I will need my eggs and a half a teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. This is my exact half teaspoon. I really like these lids because you can grind into them. We have a little bit of a container here. It's a clever design. It's about the only clever thing we're going to see today. The eggs should also be at room temperature. We're not separating the eggs. Room temperature eggs are the easiest to whisk up. Cold eggs are easier to separate. They don't whisk together nearly as well as room temperature eggs. These have been sitting out for, I don't know, the better, just over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. They're pretty close to room temperature. They're just a little cool to the touch, so that's fine. Okay, time to shred up the chicken. We should have approximately 2 cups of shredded meat to add. Give or take. Okay, so from here, it's going to use my favorite kitchen gadget, which is paper towel. The reason for the paper towel is it does a wonderful job of sticking to the skin and helping me just peel the skin off. Now, if you don't mind having this in your soup, that's fine. But I do find that the paper towel sticks to the chicken skin fairly well, and it just makes it easier to clean the chicken. So I'm gonna fillet. I'm going to remove the skin from the chicken. Hope that's on camera. Once your paper towel gets wet, it doesn't stick all that well to the bird, but good enough. And even just to get it started, because once the skin starts coming off, it usually peels off rather nicely. Okay. From here, I'm going to throw out the skin. I'm just going to throw the pieces of meat back into this bowl. There's a little bit of broth down there. It's just extra flavor. And I do need a container for the bones and whatnot. Just that little bowl up there. This is a far cry from your chicken dinner carving. Again, we don't want any tendons and we don't want any ligaments. We don't want any extra chewy, firm, crunchy bits. Gives me a real appreciation for the machines that mechanically separate chicken meat. In general, I do like to play with my meat. It's nice to be able to inspect your own meat, like this little hard bit here, some cartilage. Let's put it in there. Just so you're not getting any weird gristly bits. Especially, and I know I bring this up a lot, especially when you're feeding youngins, because nothing will turn a kid off of a food for years, if not an entire lifetime, than biting into something that's got really bad mouthfeel. Or something that just tastes like garbage. Pull that skin away. When you're cutting up beef, especially, you can look for the lines of fat, the veins of fat, and that's usually a really, really good guide for where you should be cutting. For birds, not so much, but bird anatomy is very straightforward. And if there is interest, I can spend an extra 20 minutes next time I do a turkey, demonstrating how to carve up a turkey for fun and profit. Mostly for fun. I'm not sure that there's any profit in the turkey carving game anymore. Okay. My pot boileth over. That pot is going to set off the smoke alarms. Okay, pot is at a boil, 20 minutes on the timer. We're on medium low also works, but the recipe says medium, so I'm just going to turn my brain off and follow the recipe today. The top of the drumstick, top of the leg here, watch out, because you can get some of this cartilage, part of the joint. It's easy to break off with this piece of meat here. So I'd like to just pinch the meat itself and separate it from the bits closer to the joint. Now when we get to the breast itself, you can just run a knife along the breastbone here, or you can just reach in like a savage, just rip the whole dang thing off. Of course, if you want, you can save the breasts for making sandwiches later. I need all y'all to help me make a wish. Ready? You get to make a wish. I hope you wished for something good. Even better if it was something good for me. Big chunk of breast, big chunk of breast. Love me some boobs. We already have about 3 cups of meat. You can always eyeball, well, I find it's easiest to eyeball what 3 cups looks like, because a standard soup bowl is exactly 3 cups. And by exactly, I mean pretty spook. 36 months, thank you so much. If you picture your ingredients fitting nicely into a soup bowl, probably 3 cups. Okay, so this, in theory, I could boil again to make some stock. In general, I don't like reboiling bones. Like you can squeeze out a bit of value. You can get some flavor out of it, and you can get some collagen. Yeah, out of what's left in the carcass. But it's had its time. It's paid its dues. We can give it a Viking funeral. Let it rest. Let us pick out the oyster, and soon we're going to just shred up this meat. And we have 17 minutes to spare. Oh, I guess we have to make the sauce. Like, I could try to pick out every last little bit of meat from here. Personally, I don't think it's worth the effort. If you're really bored, go ahead. I mean, it'd be rather hypocritical for me to tell you to not play with your bone, not play with your meat. Oh my God. I'm such a degenerate. This is going to the garbage. Do not feed the boiled carcass to your pets, especially your doggos, because the cooked bones tend to splinter when you bite into them. That's dangerous for doggos. Raw bones apparently are a heck of a lot safer. Okay, so we're just gonna give this a really, really coarse choppy chop. I mean, I could shred this down a lot. These longer pieces, I want to cut down. But you know, these nice hearty pieces of breast, leave them together. Again, just a coarse chop. I'm going to spin my board around like a record baby after this pass. So I will have, in theory, cubes of meat. Some pieces like this that have a lot of fat in them, you'll want to rip these apart. Make sure that they're smaller. Unless you're into that kind of meat, I don't know. If you're gonna chop up your chicken like this, make sure your knife is nice and sharp. Tisk, tisk. I'm also going to give the meat one final inspection before I throw it back in the bowl, just to make sure that there aren't any little crunchy bone bits. Just going to pick up a handful of meat, make sure it's clean, feel it around, gently massage it. So if I've done my work, it's nice and soft, and then there's nothing hard left. Okay, feel free to judge me. I deserve it. Thank you. We've all seen enough sitcom to know how to do the Heimlich maneuver. But yeah, you don't want to be distressing your guests like that. By like that, I mean feeding them chicken bones. That's good. That's good. That's good. We're almost done. Okay. Down with the cutting board. This is approximately 3 cups. Do not use instant 5-minute rice. Unless you're able to keep track of your timing. Besides, the regular rice is so much cheaper than the parboiled stuff. Do you want me to prove that this is closer to 3 cups? You know, we're so bored. We're going to do it. Do you dare me? I dare me. One cup agreed. It's actually more than a cup. Two cups agreed. Three cups. And a little bit left over. Easy peasy. Today we didn't squeeze any lemons. Things like your thumb is around an ounce of cheese or meat. Something like the palm of your hand is a 3-ounce cut of fish or meat in general. All of these estimates you just learn as time goes on, if you care. Because the easiest way I found to learn how to guesstimate fairly well is just pay attention to how much you're adding. Because if you're paying attention to what you're doing, it's amazing how quickly you build up a knack for it. Okay, I'm just going to stir this meat in, return the lid. I'm also going to make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of this pot, because this so-called stainless steel pot is not exactly stainless steel. And the next time I go to my local, for lack of a better term, ethnic store, and I'm thinking about buying any kitchen appliances, I'm going to make sure I have a magnet with me, because most stainless steel is not magnetic. Most. So if your handy dandy fridge magnet sticks to your allegedly stainless steel pot, there's a very, very, very good chance that it's not actually stainless steel. It's not a guarantee. So don't go all Karening out on whoever's in charge. Egg can. We crack the egg with authority, and hopefully we don't get any splinters. Now, many internet personalities have claimed that it's not good to crack your eggs on the side of something. You should crack on something flat. Personally, I think they're wrong, because this thing's splintering and I already see fragments that are ready to escape and end up in my bowl like so. Oh no, I have an eggshell in my cup. Whatever will I do? I'm freaking out. Quick, purge it with fire. Oh, but wait, the eggshell hack. How does that go again? Oh yeah, I have an eggshell in my hand. The eggshell cuts right through the white, and you can either slide your piece of eggshell. I'm going to push this off to the side so you can see it a little better. You can slide it up the side of the bowl, like so. You can see the eggshell. It's been slid up the side. Or, in an ideal world, you get your eggshell cup underneath the piece of egg, and then just lift straight up. I'm going to crack this on the side, one-handed, just to look like a total dork. One-handed, just get your thumbnail into there and then just pop it up like you're popping open a bottle cap. And there we go. I like to crack my eggs over a bowl one at a time, because if I get any eggshells, it's easier to fix the issue. It's easier to extract that piece of eggshell. And if you're using farm fresh eggs and your egg happens to be the close to a live kind, you're not wasting all of your ingredients. You're just getting something kind of gross and unexpected in one bowl. Okay, so here I have my 3 eggs and my pepper in here. I mean, I could possibly should whisk this together, but ain't no one got time for that. You should see just how quickly, this is on low speed, just how quickly those eggs incorporate. And that's because they were room temperature. Got 5 minutes left to make the sauce. Wow, timing's amazing. Whisk up the eggs with the pepper. Now, we're not trying to make a meringue. I'm not trying to floof these up. I just want to whisk these together enough at low speed just to make sure the whites and the yolk are connected. They're making friends. I don't see any bits of white in here. There's just a little bit. I'm going to keep whisking this up. Okay, and when I'm ready, I'm going to take my half cup of lemon juice and slowly, very, very slowly incorporate it. Just a tablespoon at a time, every few seconds. The acid helps to break up the proteins in the egg white, also chemically cooks the yolk. And the acid in the egg white helps stretch out those protein strands. So that's all in there. Then I'm going to take a cup of the hot stuff and slowly, very, very, very slowly add it. Now, you could do this whisking with one hand. I find using the hand mixer to be just a heck of a lot easier. And I've been scooping up about a quarter of a cup at a time. So this is the fourth quarter cup. I mean, I know it's more than a quarter cup each time, but close enough. And at this point, the eggs in here are fully cooked. But we don't have scrambled eggs. Again, mind blown. Once everything is fully incorporated, pour the sauce into the soup pot. Zip right the heck in. There's a little pepper in here that I want to get out. There we go. Remove from heat, cover, let sit 5 minutes, and we're done. And you see the color change and how deep that color change is. It went from being that yellowish tinted chicken fatty goodness to a much creamier white looking sauce. That's because this egg sauce has penetrated through everything. Heat goes off, 5 minutes, and we're done. For all of you who were timing at home, that was, I'm just going to call it exactly to the second, 45 minutes. Pat myself on the back. I have no idea. I'm going to check the replay later. But it really is that easy. It is pretty close to 45 minutes. I know I started a few minutes after the hour. It's 10 minutes to. It's going to be pretty darn close to 45 minutes. Now, and again, I already had the chicken boiled. And the boiling of the chicken is going to be minimum 1 hour, probably an hour and a half-ish. And it's nice if you have a chance to let the chicken cool down at least enough so you can manipulate it without burning yourself. Okay, yet another successful, super easy and amazing Greek dish in the books. Join all my socials. Lick that smash button. Subscribe to my... Wait. Smash that like button. Destroy the share button and do something incredibly violent to the subscribe button. And comment below. The YouTube is actually getting some views, which is kind of fun. My gaming is actually getting more views than my cooking, but Here we are. I'm toying with the idea of editing my cooking down to like 10, 15-minute bite-sized bite-sized bits of content that would require actual editing and then some voiceovers. I tried something on the last video though, where towards the end, I did like a freeze frame for a minute and I added another video clip on the bottom of the screen with a voiceover. And then I added some pictures. It was pretty slick. It's pretty slick. Now to find out which video it is, you're going to have to go watch all of them. I see what I did there. I'm so clever. Basic ingredients, no gadgets, no fancy techniques. If you have any requests for any type of either the ethnicity or a specific dish, ingredients, a technique, pretty much anything to do with cooking in the kitchen, I mean food in the kitchen, I should be able to simplify, make it as accessible as possible to the most novice of cooks. There's not much you can do for cooking in the bathroom. The hot water in your bathroom it's probably not going to get your meat to 165 Fahrenheit. The temperature range in our showers is only a few degrees. It goes from, it feels like it's super ice frickin' cold to my skin is falling off hot. There's only a few degree range in there. Yeah, I don't think there's much that I could cook in the bathroom. I guess I could use a curling iron or a hair straightener. Um, like to make hot dogs or maybe grilled cheese sandwiches or something. And I know, one of these days I will do dishwasher salmon. I will do ironed grilled cheese sandwiches. I should have done that for April 1st, but I totally missed it. Next year. Somebody please remind me for next year. Anywho, I'm going to be cutting all of this out for the the YouTubes. Don't run away. Don't run away because I guess Nuvo is going to get a bowl. Okay. Nuvo's not getting a bowl.
You fed us a lot of food.
Oh. Now there wasn't a whole lot of rice in here, but this, when this sets overnight in your refrigerator, it almost turns into a paste. It gets so thick, and it's not from the starch in the rice. And part of it's from the gelatin, from the the bowl is too small. Yeah, from the fat. A lot of it's the fat congealing. The egg also does something kind of magical. Like you can see how thick that is, right? Like for starters, you can see how thick, how well that's sticking to the back of my spoon. You personally, I like to add more salt and pepper at the end. Yeah, this is fantastic. And this is what Dr. Vlahos ordered for anyone that's a little under the weather, which is us. One of my clients brought over a fresh pickerel the other day. I think that was, yeah, it was 2 days ago. So I just fillets, they were perfectly done. I paper towel dry, pressed into flour, pressed into a simple beaten egg wash, pressed into panko, pan fried in a quarter of an inch of oil on both sides. And then I made a mayonnaise honey dill sauce. It's kind of perfect. The pickerel was actually kind of amazing. The inside was light and flaky and tasty. The exterior was perfectly crisp, and it was cooked absolutely perfectly all through. It's kind of awesome. This is really good stuff. It's very easy to overeat this stuff too. It was super basic, and it took like, I don't know, 10 minutes to make two batches, 15 minutes tops. Recipes, well, I shouldn't even call it recipes. Things like that, I think, would be really good for people to see made a couple of times, but I can't really justify a full night of uh, Twitch to it. And it seems weird, even when it's an empty house, it seems weird recording and talking to a non existent room. Like at one point or another, I think basically all musicians have played to an empty room. And the people that are really into doing what they're doing, they'll still give it their all. They'll rock the house down with nobody in the audience. Because if nothing else, the staff hopefully like it. Um, it sure beats getting all salty that none of your friends showed up. But me recording just for the sake of recording myself, not streaming it live, I think is the equivalent to going to a club after hours and like LARPing that I'm a musician. It seems weird. I don't know why. Maybe I just need to do it more. Don't go too crazy on the lemon unless you really, really like lemon. And again, me personally, I like to add salt and pepper at the end to my taste. Don't ever over season your food. You're always better off under seasoning your food and letting your guests add however much seasoning they want later, because you can always add more. It's really hard to remove it. It's very hard to remove salt from food. It's so good. That's all I got. Game time. Don't go away.